introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, if you watch my show regularly, you may remember a weight loss success story named Tricia Grey, who lost 70 pounds. She's actually celebrating her 3-year anniversary of being down 70 pounds by following a whole food, unprocessed, plant-based diet. When we were doing the show, we were getting to learn a little bit more about her, how she rescues animals, which is awesome, and how she has this business called Sing Like a Star. And I started asking her, like, can anybody learn to sing? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And so she offered me a free voice lesson for my birthday. And I said, well, let's just do it on the show. Well, my birthday was a Friday. She couldn't do it. So this is my belated birthday present. So I'm going to probably embarrass myself and make a fool out of myself. But we're also going to learn, like, can anybody sing? Or is it only for those that get on American Idol? Please welcome back to the show, Tricia Grey. It's so nice to see you again.
Hi, AJ. It's so fun to be here. Thank you for doing this for me. I really appreciate it.
Well, of course, and here's the other thing. I mean, some people, when anytime I deviate for Q&A with doctors, people are like, "Where are the doctors?" But here's the thing: I like to do things that are fun for me and that might interest other people. And I was intrigued just by your email when we were going back and forth, getting you on the show the first time, like Sing Like a Star, and I'm like, what is that? And I would love to know what do you do? Like, are you a professional singer, and do you teach people all over the world? You said you can do this on Zoom, but you don't have to have any raw talent. I mean, really, anybody can learn to sing?
I really firmly believe that anybody who will practice can learn to sing. So I can give them the tools, but it's up to them to work the tools. Now, it's just like being a dancer or being an athlete. It's all about muscle development, developing certain muscles in sequential order and balancing and registrating and coordinating these muscles. So yes, anyone can learn to do it. Now, is there such a thing as talent? Of course there is. Some people learn this easier. Some people take to it much more naturally, but I think anyone can improve their singing voice. And I love to work with people who are, let's say, I work with a lot of doctors and lawyers and people that took the normal path, but always secretly in their heart wished that they had become singers. And those are my favorite people to work with. They have this secret dream and desire to be a singer, and I can help them reach their goals. And yes, everybody is welcome if you'll practice.
Have you worked with any of the plant-based doctors?
I haven't, no. Although I will say, I was just on the holistic cruise at sea, and Dr. Barnard was on it. And not only is the man a genius and writes millions of books and, does so much for the world, but hello, he has a rock band. And so he played a video of his rock band and him singing and playing guitar and everything. It was really awesome. I mean, and he writes original songs, and I was like, is there anything this man can't do?
Oh, I just saw him. He was in Sacramento two weeks ago presenting me with the Voice of Compassion Award. I knew that he played in a band. I didn't realize he sang.
And he writes the songs.
Oh,
and he plays guitar.
Yeah.
I mean,
how did you get into this? Because I'm guessing you probably are or were or wanted to be a singer at some point.
Sure. I was born in Los Angeles, and I think, you and I had similar stomping grounds throughout the 90s. I was there in the Valley, probably close to where you were. I was in Van Nuys and North Hollywood and that area up to soon after the earthquake. So, yeah, I was a singer there in Los Angeles, born and raised there, sang in a million bands. I sang 5-6 nights a week all throughout my career. But all along that period of time when I was professionally singing in all these bands, I was also during the day teaching. So I had come in contact with a world famous voice teacher named Seth Riggs, who taught Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder, and just everybody in the business came to Seth at that time. And so he got me started in voice teaching. He said, you would be really good at this. And I'm like, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be Pat Benatar. And he goes, no, you really need to get into this teaching thing. So he really got me started and sent me my first clients. And, I've been teaching ever since.
I have heard of Seth Riggs. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
When I look at your headshot on your website, have people told you look like, I can't think of the actress's name, but she played Rebecca on Ted Lasso, the owner of the team?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We kind of had this discussion last time. You were saying, who does she look like?
But now I know for sure.
And now you know.
It's guys, do you agree with me? I can't think of the actress's name. She's very tall and she plays Rebecca. She's British, and that's who,
nice.
At least on your headshot, that's great. So did losing 70 pounds help your vocal, ability any better? Did that make a difference? Hannah, thank you so much. Hannah Waddington. Rhonda, you're the best.
I would say that, well, of course, when I was doing this in LA, I was skinny or relatively. I was never as skinny as the real skinny girls were. And we talked about this when I was on your show before. It's like that competition thing of who can be more anorexic, right? Well, I was never that. But, I smoked a lot of cigarettes and did all kinds of bad stuff to stay as skinny as I did during that period. So when I was actively performing, I wouldn't say that I had a 70-pound weight problem. Absolutely not. But when I came here to Georgia and started mostly teaching and just performing here and there, we got a little lazy and complacent and started, especially, as COVID hit and stuff, just everything was just fast food, takeout, delivery. That's it. So I kind of stopped performing for a while when I had gained that weight. I just didn't feel like comfortable getting on stage and shaking my booty and things. I just didn't feel like I deserved to be there or whatever. But since I've lost the weight, I've found myself out there performing again, which is really fun. It's nice to still be able to get out there and be active in the business. So, yeah.
Are you in Atlanta?
I'm in Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I've got a good friend there who used to do conferences. That's very, very cool. Well, who's your typical client, and what's the youngest person you've ever worked with, and what's the oldest?
Gosh, the youngest would be, well, I had a client named Angelica Hale who was very big on America's Got Talent. She did very, very well. She should have come in first place, I think, but I think she at the last minute lost out to a girl that did, what do you call the puppet thing? What's that called?
Ventriloquism.
Ventriloquist, right, yeah. And everybody was like, what the heck? They couldn't believe it. But her career was really launched by that show. Anyway, she started with me when she was 5 years old and studied with me nonstop, so that's the youngest person. And then, there is no age defining barrier. It's will you do the work and are you capable of doing the practice? So little kids can do it. But not all little kids, certain little kids can do it. And then adults as well. So the oldest, I would say, I don't know, in their 70s, maybe. Oh, no, 80s. 80s. Yeah. And we do showcases twice a year for our singers and in a beautiful theater called the Strand Theater. And it really is all ages.
Well, so if you're working with people virtually, is the showcase virtual or is it in person?
Well, those people, a lot of them fly in. I have people fly in from LA to participate in the showcase, and Chicago and all over. Yeah, people do fly in to do the shows. It's fun.
How many lessons generally does a person need to be ready to do a showcase?
Well, for our showcases, we say that whatever level you're at, you should be able to perform. So it's not just only the best of the best for us. So we get people up there and performing as soon as possible within the first, I'd say, 6 months for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, everybody should have that, that experience of being able to be applauded for wherever they are in their journey. So we have 3 shows. The third show is the advanced show, and then our first show is kind of our beginner show. So everybody has a place.
Well, they say that public speaking is often the #1 fear of people. And I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid to speak publicly. I used to be an activity director, and I probably have given more eulogies than anybody other than like a member of the clergy. But singing publicly, if you're not a singer, that to me sounds terrifying. Almost like stand-up. Yeah.
I'm just the opposite. It's like, okay, I can sing in front of anybody, but give me a speech and it's just, oh my God. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what people, I'm curious, those of you that are watching live, type in the chat. What do you find scarier? To have to speak in front of people, giving a speech, to have to sing in front of people, or have to do stand-up? Because I always feel like if you can do stand-up comedy, you can pretty much do anything. And I remember the first time I did it almost 25 years ago, I was having panic attacks at the club. I was laying on the floor, hyperventilating. And now it's like, what's the worst that can happen? They throw a tomato at you. And now since it's on Zoom, you just can't get the tomatoes thrown at you.
Oh my gosh, you do that on Zoom? That's
I've been doing it since the pandemic began. Yeah, but it's so easy to get.
Nice.
It's actually sit down comedy. So, I would love to know a little bit about. Oh, so people are saying, well, one person says public speaking would be the thing. So when somebody comes to you, so this technically is my first lesson.
Yes.
what do you do? And what is it? They are about an hour long, usually the lessons, a half hour. I can't imagine people singing for a whole hour if they've never sang.
It depends. So we do half hours, 45s, and hour-long lessons, and it just depends on how much you want to commit to the process, and of course how much you can spend and things like that. So the half hours are great for the younger singers. 45s I think are great for everybody else. But yeah, so we try to do a vocal workout, vocal training. You know, I really hate and despise the word warm-up, because I think what we really need to be doing is development. So vocal development, developing all aspects of the voice. So I have a really specific program called the 8 Steps of Vocal Development, which encompasses every aspect of vocal training that you would need, starting from real basic. You know, step 0 is where we assess you, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to assess and diagnose your voice, and that kind of just tells me where you are right now with technique and gives me a sense of what I need to give you to help you get to where you want to go. All the way through step 2, we're going to work on your chest voice or your belt voice, and I know from hearing you sing the Dr. McDougall song that you have a really, really good chest voice. And then step 3, we're going to be working on our upper register, head voice, et cetera, until we get all the way up to step 8, which is riffs and runs like, you know, stars do. So it's from really basic breathing techniques and things like that through the super advanced stuff. And then in any given lesson, we try to get through as many steps as possible. So we'll try to get you at least up to step 5 today. We'll try.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Here I am.
You're ready to go?
I am ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Well, I have a little bit of a slideshow to start us off. It just tells us a little bit about the training, a bit of it, and then we'll go out of the slideshow and we'll go ahead and go on with our training. So let me just share here. Let's see, share screen. All right. All right, so this is called You Can Sing Like a Star. It's a sequential skill building program, and it was from the book that I wrote called You Can Sing Like a Star by Tricia Grey. And it has a whole bunch of wonderful background knowledge about the voice and science and videos and all kinds of stuff. And it's everything you need to know to sing stronger, sing higher, and sing like a star, including riffs and runs. All right. And everybody says, well, can you still sing? And to that I say every teacher should be able to still sing. And so this is just a recording of me at our last showcase. Let me know if the sound is okay.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. The last love in the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know how I feel. Butterfly just having fun, you know how I feel. Sweet peace when the day is done, and this whole world's a new world. It's a whole world for me. Stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Suns in the sky, you know Oh, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Yeah, for me. And I'm feeling, I'm feeling, I'm feeling I'm feeling good. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I'm feeling good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I would just like to say that the only reason I could get into these pants is thanks to Chef AJ. It's all because of you, darling, because, you know, I don't know if you remember, but 4 years ago today, I was sitting on a couch going, what the heck? Nothing I do is working, and I found you. I found your videos, and nothing has been the same since. So your teachings and your program have changed everything for me. So I'm super appreciative of that.
Well, thank you. You look incredible. I just want to say I was able to hear it okay, but the live audience said it was kind of distorted. There was just, so I don't know if there's something we can do, because we did spend a lot of time in the settings before coming on because we knew there was going to be music. So I'm just not sure.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was the way I shared the sound.
Yeah, we'll see when we sing without the video if people
Yeah,
are still here.
it'll be
Well,
fine.
it says Tricia Grey MM. What's the MM?
MM is Masters in Music.
Ah, okay.
Master's degree in music. So after I had been a rock singer for a while, after I'd been a rock singer for quite a long time, I actually went back to school. I went to Cal State Northridge and decided to get a degree in music. And I was there for my undergrad program. And I was actually there during the earthquake, the 95 earthquake, or 94, whenever it was. Yeah. So
I was there at the same time. We probably crossed paths on campus sometime.
Yep. So
amazing.
So then I went to the East Coast, New York, to get my master's degree, and from there I came to Atlanta. So
very cool.
All right, so let me get back to what we were doing here on our screen. Let's talk a little bit about the technique and everything like that. All right, so there's two ways you can study singing with us. One is our online course, and the other way is the in-person lessons, whether we do that at the studio here in Roswell, Georgia, or one-on-one instruction with Zoom, like we're going to do with our guest, Chef AJ today. So if you want to register to try to teach yourself with our online course, you go to singlikeastar.com, click on the resources tab, and then from there you can go down to subscriptions. And you can register for the subscription course that gives you access to not only the book, which is a manual that tells you all about the science of the voice, but it also has 700 recorded exercises. And the exercises are really fun because they're like singing with a band. They're real music, not just piano. It's like singing with a band, so it's more fun. So it's a sequential skill building method for training contemporary singers in all styles: musical theater, rock, pop, R&B, gospel, country, and jazz. And it contains lots of exercises for you to sing along with. You can teach yourself at home using the method that has trained Broadway stars, American Idol, America's Got Talent winners, and popular artists. It includes style, how to riff and run like a star. And that is $49.95 a month. And then if you want to come in person or take lessons on Zoom, once again, you just go to our website, singlikeastar.com, and click the Get Started tab, and you register for a voice evaluation with us. That's how you get started. So let's talk about the method. The method is called the 8 Steps of Vocal Development. It's a sequential skill building program, starts from assessment and diagnosis, goes all the way up to super advanced stuff like riffs and runs. Then the components of the training. There's several components to about vocal training. One is to know how your voice works. So that's anatomy, physiology, and a little bit of science about the voice. And then understanding the science makes us more effective as singers. And this is just an image from the book, Cartilages of the Larynx. If you know a little bit about the larynx, it helps you as a singer. So each How Your Voice Works chapter contains easy to understand science lessons with images and graphics. Then we have our tools for training voices. So how do we train a voice? Well, there are certain methods by which we can obtain the objectives that we're out to get in each step. And that includes vowels, consonants, scales, certain sounds, and things like that. These train your voice. So it's not just singing songs, it's singing sometimes really funny and weird sounding sounds to develop the musculature and coordination. And then it's just, you know, learning the step, knowing what the objective of each step is and the logic behind each step. And then the other component is our exercises. So as we say, we have over 700 recorded exercises for males, females, and for children, all in the appropriate keys. So makes a great Christmas present. All right, so we're going to start with assessment and diagnosis, which is our step 0. All right, and what are we trying to do with our assessment? Well, we're assessing what we hear in your voice in several areas. So the lower register, which is your low voice, and then the upper register, which is your head voice, and then how you transition through the primo passaggio or the first bridge, and that's the area between the low voice and the high voice, and that's where most people flip, break, have a hard time, and all that. And then what is the connection and balance between the registers? From that, I can give you a diagnosis that assigns you to a vocal category, depending on where you are with your registration. Are you heavy in the lower? Are you light in the upper? What kind of are we seeing in those registration things? Very few singers that I assess come to me already balanced. Everybody has challenges and issues when they start. And so we just figure out from this assessment and diagnosis how to help you. So those are our vocal categories, depending on what is going on with each register. Okay, we're going to start you with our assessment scale. And this is where our Chef AJ is going to start singing for us. So we're not sharing anymore. All right, so this is what we're doing. So I'm going to give you a really simple scale. I'm going to sing it, and then you're going to sing it back to me. And then it's going to go up, 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 up. And we're going to see what happens as you get higher. And that's going to allow me to tell you what your category is. Okay, so
can everyone at home practice too and do this?
Oh, please, that would be fun.
Yeah, so I don't
All right.
I don't feel so alone. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's very easy. It's just ah.
I'm gonna let ah.
Very good. Now we're going up. That's okay. Same thing here. Very nice. Very good. I mean, right away, I can tell you there's some really good news, and that is that you're matching pitch. That is wonderful. So I always tell students, if you can match the pitch, we can do everything else. Okay? So if I gave you ah, and you say ah, and believe me, I've had people do that, it would be a lot harder. We could still do it, but it would be really hard. But you have the musical ability not only to match the pitch, but you kind of come in on the right time and sort of like that. So that tells us you have enough talent that, you know, your voice would be worth working with. All right, so job. Same thing here. Do it. Go ahead.
Do it before you do it?
Yeah, without me. Now you're just going to do it without me. Yeah, same thing. Very nice. I'm going to keep going up. Good. That's really good, AJ. Good.
It's harder.
It is getting harder, right? Yeah.
I can't go any.
Perfect. And this is why we give people this horrible scale, because we're looking to see what happens when you get to those high notes. What did you notice as you got higher and higher? You said it got harder, right?
Harder. Yeah.
And that's because, just as I was explaining before, we all are born with 2 registers. a lower register, which I think you're more comfortable in. Am I right?
I think so. Yeah. Like,
And an
yeah.
upper register or head voice. Now, when you hear, let's say, I don't know, Beyonce or I don't know, Whitney Houston or some great singer sing, you don't hear that. You don't hear lower and upper. You hear this one sound from the bottom to a really high voice, and it's all the same sound, right? That's what we're trying to develop with voice lessons. So everybody comes in with their own challenges, and your challenge is, like many people, you're stronger in your what we call the lower register or belt voice than you are in your upper register. So that tells us what our objective is. We're going to try to give you some strength and presence in that upper register and then hook the registers together. And that's going to be what we're going to be looking to do in this lesson, okay? But let's go back and start from step 1 now. So we've done our assessment. We know you're stronger in your lower. You did a really good job with that. And again, we learned that you do have musical talent because you could match the pitch and you have pretty good tone as well. But we're going to be working on that tone and making it even better, okay? To start with, we're going to teach you how to breathe like a singer. So have you ever heard, I don't know, choir teachers or anybody tell you stuff like sing from your diaphragm and weird stuff like that?
No, I never did any kind of music.
Okay, no
so
singing.
no.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of times when people come in, they'll say, yeah, my teacher said breathe from the diaphragm. Well, what the heck does that
I don't
mean?
even know where I don't know what that means. Even when the yoga teacher says,
Okay.
I really have no idea how to breathe.
Let me explain that here. I'm going to go back to sharing, and we're going to go to I'll show you real quick. Okay, so you're an unbalanced pulled lower, and I kind of thought you would be. So that just means you strain as the pitch gets higher, you bridge a little high, and then you flip a little bit. So you need a little less weight in the lower, a little more power in the upper. Okay, so we're going to talk now about breath management and appoggio. Appoggio is another fancy Italian word for breath support, how to make your voice stronger. All right, so it's the foundation of good singing, but it also has to balance with what's going on with your vocal folds themselves. So we call this the balance of air and muscle. So let's experience that. You're going to put your fingers on your larynx like this, and then just sigh, just go. So there's no sound there, right? Right? That means your vocal folds or your vocal cords, which are actually right here in your larynx, right, are open, and they're allowing the air to just escape, and you're not getting any tone. Now I want you to say, ah.
Ah.
That means your vocal folds have adducted or come together, and the sound is clear now. And that's what we're trying to get in every area of the voice, adducted vocal folds. All right? Very good. All right, so we're looking for a balance of air and muscle. So air is from the breath support. Muscle is what we just did, ah, with the muscles of the larynx. It's called the TA, the LCA, the IA, the CT. All these muscles control your vocal folds. So we're going to start by looking at this breath support idea. So the muscles that surround the body around the core are the muscles that we're going to be using to produce good vocal sound. That is the transversus abdominis, IA, external abdominal obliques, and the rectus abdominis. All these in the picture here are the muscles that are going to kind of engage to help us sing a little bit. And we're going to get into that. Okay, we're engaging our lateral core muscles that are located around the outside of the body. This makes your voice stronger. So we're going to work on breath support. 2 things about breathing. It's how we inhale and then what happens on the exhalation. And we have to be conscious of both. Unlike everyday life, where it's part of the autonomic nervous system, we have to be conscious. So when we inhale, we want the rib cage to expand, front, sides, and back. And exhale, we're going to engage our support muscles. So the diaphragm, you can see right here that this little green thing here is the diaphragm. It's inside. As you lose air, the diaphragm comes up to a dome shape. As you inhale, the diaphragm flattens. And that's what they mean when they're talking about the diaphragmatic breath. Okay, so the diaphragm will flatten if you take a nice low breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to do that low breath. So take your hands here and put them on the sides of your rib cage. See if you can sit up nice and tall and just inhale like, and see if you can feel the rib cage expanding.
Yep.
All right, that is a diaphragmatic breath. So we want not only the rib cage to expand, but we want the tummy to expand as well. So it's the 360-degree expansion is what we call it. So let's put one hand now on our belly button and one hand on our rib cage and see if we can inhale so that the belly goes out and the ribs go out. So just...
So are you supposed to inhale through your nose or your mouth?
Well, right now we're doing what we call the occluded inhale, which is I'm making noise. As we get into actual singing, we want to breathe mouth and nose at the same time silently. But for right now, just to feel the expansion, we want a nice occluded sound. All right. And so as best as possible, we don't want to lift the shoulders or the chest. We want just the tummy to go out. Okay. Did you feel your tummy and your ribs moving just a little bit? Yes, I think you're doing it right, because when you were breathing before, when we were doing the first scale, you were doing a lot of this, right? And your chest was moving, but now you're not doing that. So that means that the breath is correct. That's what we call the diaphragmatic breath. All right, so that's the inhale part of it. All right, just let your tummy, and one other thing you need to know is that you have to just let your tummy muscles relax. We can't be all skinny up there. So let the tummy just relax. Think of it like a yoga breath, a belly breath for yoga. And then, okay, so that's the inhale. Now, what happens after the air gets in? It's how we control the flow of air on the exhale. So we're going to learn how to engage those muscles around the middle of the body that we talked about, the core muscles, transversus abdominis, and all those, to get more sound. So what I want you to do is you're going to take 3 fingers like this, and you're going to put them in your rib cage right under your lowest rib. And I want you to say, ch, ch, ch. Feel that little muscle go out, out, out. That's your support muscle. Okay. Now go, ch, ch, ch. Okay, now it's engaged as you're expelling air. And that's what we want to do when we're singing. Does that make sense?
It
so
makes
again,
sense. I don't know if I can do it, but it does make sense.
Again, it's 2 things. It's relaxing on the inhale and then kind of firming those muscles on the exhale. All right. And that's going to help us get a stronger sound. And that's what we need to know about breathing or breath support for step 1. All right.
I'm yawning now.
Because we're having you breathe deeply. I think it's starting the yawn response. Yeah. All right. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go, and I'm going to count to 8. All right. Nice low breath. Firm those muscles on the side of the body. And you're going to hiss out for 8 counts. So ready, and 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's what you should feel while you're singing. Did you feel the slight engagement? Yeah, and you had a nice breath, nice low breath, and that's what we do in singing. All right?
I didn't know it was so complicated.
Oh, yeah, it can get really complicated. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to step 2, which is all about your chest voice or your belt voice. Now, what we want to do in this step is we want you to make a sound like you're calling to your friend across the street. And we want it to be deep and dark. So one thing I noticed in your diagnostic scale is that when you sang, your larynx, which is right here, was slightly high. So it was more of a ah, and we don't want that sound. We want ah, we want a deeper, darker sound, okay? So again, you know, remembering that our breath is low and we're supporting, we're going to take a hiss. We're going to go s, s, like that, and then follow it with whoa. I'm calling my friend, and I want it to sound deep and dark. So s, s, whoa. Try it.
Whoa.
That's the sound. Good job. That's the sound. So when you did that, your larynx, this little guy right here, was slightly lower, and that's what we want as singers. We don't want our larynx to go up, 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 and make a squeezy sound like that. No, we want a nice low and relaxed larynx. So most people that are not trained in singing, they will tend to hike that larynx up. And so that's one of the things we're working on. And by the way, we do a lot of crazy, funny, weird sounds to get a result. And these sounds don't necessarily sound like what we call the finished product in singing. They are a means and a tool to get a result. All right. And so that's what we're doing here. So don't feel like it's, oh my gosh, it's such a strange sound, I can never do it. Just throw yourself into it and you'll see the results. So now we're going to do that on different pitches. All right. So I'm going to ask you to say s, s, whoa, with that deep, dark sound like you're calling out across the street. Yep, put your hands right here on your waist with your thumbs to the back. Try to press out slightly against your hands as you're doing this. So hiss, hiss, whoa.
Whoa.
Perfect. Can you make it just a little longer? Can we go, whoa.
Whoa.
Very nice. I'm going to go up. Whoa.
Whoa.
Nice. That was good. Can you tell how that sound right already is much better? Yeah? Nice, open, resonant sound. Good. Let's go up. Same thing.
Whoa.
Now, if you could just make the whoa sound longer. Try that one again.
Whoa.
Nice. Good, 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 good. Same thing.
Whoa. I know, it's harder. Every time we go up, it gets harder.
That's all right. Right now, we're at the top of the chest voice. That's why we've kind of hit the ceiling there. And it's supposed to feel hard, and it will feel hard. We wouldn't want to take you any higher than that. That one might be our highest note, right? Let's just do that one more time. So, whoa!
Whoa!
Good. Now we're going to go back. Right here.
Whoa!
Whoa! Nice strong sound.
Whoa!
Good job. That's really good.
I feel silly, but okay.
I know. Waltz. And this is not even the silliest sound that we have either. There's some that are really crazy, but they get results. Whoa! I'm calling to my friend.
Whoa!
Good. That's a very good sound. Good for you.
Whoa!
Whoa!
You know, this is actually kind of tiring. You know?
Oh, it is. It takes a lot of physical energy to sing. Absolutely.
It really does. Now you know why when they're jumping around, they're always so sweaty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It takes a lot of energy. It does. But I think like anything, it gets easier when you get in shape for it. You know, like, I can do this all day and not feel that tired vocally. But when you're first learning it, oh, yeah, you've got to engage all this support stuff, your breathing, you got to have your posture right, all this stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I just was wondering, like, they have places where people do karaoke, and some people are really good and some are not quite as good. But how do you know when you're doing karaoke, like, what key you're supposed to sing in?
Well, usually the karaoke tracks, they're just the track of the published song as done by the artist. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily the right key for you. It might be too high for you. And then people find that out.
I always had a problem with karaoke because I felt like I was singing, and it was like that. This is not good.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that, though, is because we need to work on developing your upper register. And we're going to get to that, okay? So you're feeling challenged because you're used to singing in your chest voice. Right. Yeah. But you're not used to going up into those higher notes. So if you're singing a song, I don't know, Mariah Carey song or something like that, you're going to have a hard time getting into those higher notes until you get training to do that. But like I said, an artist that has that full range, all the way through the chest into the bridge, into the upper register, and it all sounds like one voice to us, but it's not. It's those two registers working together at all times. And so, again, you're stronger in your lower. You don't have that ability yet to get into your upper, and that's why you're feeling that challenge.
Linda, hi, Linda, who's watching live. Linda Middlesworth, prominent vegan up here, who also just received the Voice of Compassion Award, says, can you teach people who are 80? She learned stand-up at 80. Why couldn't she learn
Why not?
At 80?
There's no reason. Their age is not a defining factor at all.
Do you ever work with groups? Maybe you could get like a little vegan group going. And then I wouldn't feel so embarrassed because everybody else would be doing it too. You're
doing great. You're doing great. Yes, you can do this in groups. There's lots of ways to do it. Although I will say it's a little more challenging in the group in that, as we talked about before, every voice has its own challenges.
Right.
Like your voice category might be completely different from Linda's. Like there's another voice category where they're really strong on the top, but they don't have very much on the bottom. And so that would be a different approach for that kind of voice. And so everybody has their own challenges. Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to go on?
Sure.
Okay.
If somebody didn't want to do a lesson, would your book help them be a better singer or just learn some of this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it available on Audible?
It's not on Audible. No, it's an online subscription program.
No, but you said you wrote a book.
Well, when you get the program, you get the book, which is the manual. It gives you all the science and the background and how your voice works and why this works. And then it also has the exercises as well. So you can delve as deeply into it or not as you wish. Yes, when you do it the self-study way. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, well, let's do this. I'm going to make you even feel sillier now. And I want you to we're going to work on your head voice or upper register, which is something I think you have not really probably explored much. So it's called the head voice or the upper register. What is happening in this part of the voice is that we talked about the larynx. We talked about the vocal folds or vocal cords being inside the larynx. The vocal folds are vibrating like this with air coming through them. And what has to happen to go to a high note is those vocal cords have to stretch out like two rubber bands side by side. They have to get long and thin to go to high notes. And that's why sometimes people can't find that for themselves, because who would know this? Who would know how to do this? Okay. But it literally does happen that the vocal folds go from a short and thick position to a long and thin position. And that's what allows us to sing high notes. All right. But what we want you to do is this. I would like you to take your hand. You're going to make a V with your hand, palm on the chin, thumb and fingers on either side. And we're going to go like this. We're going to say, woo-wee!
Woo-wee!
That's your head voice. That's your head voice right there. Okay. And that feels different from the chest voice, right? Totally different. And our goal in singing is to eventually make it sound the same. Okay. So we're going to go see how high we can go in this head voice as well. So go woo-wee!
Woo-wee!
And I want you to think of kind of deep and dark and hooty sounding.
Deep and dark, okay.
Woo-wee!
Woo-wee!
Yeah, like an opera singer. Woo-wee!
Woo-wee!
That's right. You're good. Woo-wee!
Woo-wee!
Good. Now, one thing we want to not do is we don't want to go wide. We want to make sure that our mouth is like that, okay, for these high notes. So how's that feel to you?
It feels weird, and I'm glad Bailey's hard of hearing because I think that would annoy her.
Sometimes my dogs sing along. It's so funny. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Just not to segue, but I want to give you because Linda Middlesworth's watching. You do so much for animals, and thank you for that. You rescue dogs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's so, I mean, one time you said a picture, there was like, I don't know, there's like 20 laying around your house.
That's right. That's right. So
and you're just a regular person. It's not like
I'm
you're
a person with a job. Anyone can do it. Well, it's not me. I volunteer for a rescue group here called Angels Among Us Pet Rescue. And they're a really great organization that rescues dogs all throughout Georgia and all kinds of dogs. And I just happen to sort of specialize in the beagles. I don't know why. I've always loved beagles. I
know why, because they sing, because they have a unique kind of, when they bay.
Oh.
It's because you're a singer and they're a singer.
Yep. Uh-huh. And so, yeah, I've rescued probably 250 at this point and gotten them adopted at this point. And I've been doing that for about 7 years. And I've got amazing. 9 of my own plus the fosters. So it can get kind of crazy around here sometimes.
Wow. Are they in Alpharetta, Georgia?
Their office is in Alpharetta, but where the fosters live in every area. So the dogs can go. The dogs live with the fosters. And
wow.
so we have fosters.
You personally have 9 dogs. That's amazing.
Most of them are former fosters.
Yeah, that would be hard about fostering. You'd never want to let them go.
Well, you learn that the process is so fulfilling. I mean, you can't keep them all, right? You certainly couldn't keep 250 dogs, but you learn that the getting them into a beautiful home, and you get the updates, and it's a happy story, happy ending. It's very fulfilling. And yeah, I really kind of hate when people say I could never foster because I couldn't let them go. I'm like, okay, that's really just a lame excuse for not wanting to put yourself through any pain. And yeah, it is hard because you get attached to them. But what's harder is that if you don't do this, they are not living. They are put down.
They don't get home at all. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you learn how to deal with that. And but there have been a few throughout my career fostering that have been returned for whatever reason, and considered unadoptable or whatever. And those are the ones that I ended up adopting myself. And so that's why I have the 9. So we got the little rejects club here.
Aww.
Yeah. I love them. Love them all. Yep.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right.
All right. All right. Okay. I want to go now. What we're going to try to do is we're going to go from the low note to the high note, right? So we found that it was very different. Those high notes feel different to us than the low notes. Okay. So what we want to do is get you in your chest voice on the low and the head voice on the high. So I want you to say this. I want you to say, go, go, geek, geek, go. The low note is in your chest voice. The high note is in your head voice. All right. Go. Good. So let's put our palm on the chin, thumb and finger, and say, go, go, like we did that shouting before. Go, go, deep and dark.
Go, go.
That's it. Go, go, gee, gee, go.
Go, go, key, go.
Good job. Good job. That's it. Do it here.
Go, go, key, go.
That's really good. No, that's really good. Yeah, no, actually.
Doing this in front of people. This would be hard enough if it was just us.
You're such a sport for doing this. I really appreciate it. But you're doing a great job. Yeah. You know what? You're matching the pitch. You're hitting the high note, and it's coming out stronger. That's our goal. That's our objective. We're meeting our objective, which is great. Can we go a couple higher, maybe? Go, go, geek, geek, go.
Go, go, geek, go.
Good job. One more. Good job.
Oh my God. Go, go, go. That is, the high is so hard.
But you're getting it. You're making it. You're hitting that note, which is super terrific. And really, I mean, in a first lesson, to even just experience these different feelings and coordinations of the voice and stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot at first. So you're doing really, really well. And like I said before, your pitch is really good. So potentially, AJ, you could be a really good singer, Well,
potentially, yeah.
But just like your stand-up stuff, you had to learn how to do it.
So I have no aspirations to be a singer, but every now and then when I'm presenting at conferences, I'll do song parodies.
Yeah.
If I could have more breath and more stamina, and I'm doing them with tracks, and that's the thing. I don't know if I have the right key even, but that would be kind of cool to be able to just do a better comedy. I'm doing comedy singing is what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be,
Well, listen, you can hit me up anytime with those, because I know how to change the keys. So we can fix the, we can work on the songs, whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, that could be really, really fun. Because I sang at the Plantrician conference. I sang, and the doctors really liked it. It was like a comedy parody song.
Yeah,
I wrote them, and but it would be nice to sound as good as I could.
And you absolutely. I mean, I'll never forget "Eat a Damn Potato." Yeah, that was
Dr.
you.
McDougall had a plan based on carbohydrates. If you eat them, you'll be thin and won't have ass or thigh weight. John McDougall, he's the man. He's as smart as Plato. Eating starch will make you thin. Just eat a damn potato.
That was my favorite. I loved it.
That. Yep. That was easy. Yankee. And also because I love Dr. McDougall and all that.
Yes.
But yeah, I can't believe they played it at the ACLM conference. But yeah, it would be better to be better. But yeah, but it's like anything else. Unless you're just naturally gifted, everything takes some time in learning and practice. You know, that's why people come to like our weight loss programs. It's like, well, I want to be thin tomorrow. And I'm like, really? Because you haven't been for 60 years. So we got to learn some basics first. We got to learn some fundamentals. And what I'm understanding is that singing, even if you have natural talent, it's the same thing. You've got to learn some of these fundamentals, and you've got to do the scales before you do the song.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is absolutely right. That is so true. So singing songs is never going to make you a better singer. But if you have a method and you have a way of developing your voice, you can be a better singer and then go back and sing the songs. You'll be amazed at what is coming out of your mouth after just a short time of study. It's really incredible.
For people, have you ever worked with people that maybe like have asthma or COPD? Because I'm sure they might have different challenges from a respiratory standpoint than, like a 20-year-old athlete, for example.
Sure. Everybody comes to us wherever they are. And certainly the breathing exercises are helpful in extending breath control and things like that. And as we work those exercises, even asthmatic people get better at that sort of stuff. And, for those that are just really, really challenged, you just have to figure out where to breathe in a different place, in the songs.
Well, I can just tell, like, you obviously are great at what you do. You seem like a very natural teacher, very kind and patient. I'm guessing your students really love working with you because I can see that you're I'm a teacher of something else, but I can see you're an excellent teacher,
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing about being a good teacher is you have to have organizational skills. You have to have not a here, there, and everywhere, overwhelm people approach, but a logical approach like you do. Here's the first thing you do. You learn to eat vegetables for breakfast. That's your first step. Okay, now you've gotten that. And now what's your next step? Okay, you learn about START. I mean, just like you've organized your program where things are super well laid out and organized, and all you have to do is follow the program. Well, that's kind of the way I like to teach as well. Things are organized in bite-sized chunks that you can just kind of accomplish like you did today. You felt like, okay, I felt my chest voice. I know that feels different than my head voice. And I know what I need to do is work on getting them kind of stronger in both ways. And then eventually we're going to put them all together so we sound professional.
Well, a lot of people, whether it's singing or weight loss or anything, people want results without actually having to do any work.
Right. I just want to sing the song. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way.
I'm wondering, do you still have any aspirations for show business or doing an album, or does that ever leave you when you're bit by the bug?
The last CD that I did, it's actually on the website, was in 2010. So I wrote a whole bunch of songs and recorded my last CD. And, that was really fun. But I have to say, after, 25 years of singing 5-6 nights a week, or it was my job, I don't have that burning desire now like I did in my 20s to be out there doing it every night. I get a lot of fulfillment from helping other people sing. And then I get out and perform enough for me. And so I think it's a nice balance.
Because Dr. Lyle always talks about how some people have like a performance chip and they just love doing it. And I'm wondering like why some people are successful and some are less successful when when you just compare their voices. There must be like another piece. We had a potluck recently, and there's a guest that's been on the show. Her name is Vegan Michelle, and she used to like tour with Broadway shows, and so she sang at our event, and I'm like, this is like the best singer I've ever heard practically. And it's like, I'm like, don't you want to like go back and do it? Now she has, I'm sure she's happy with her life, but it just seems like when people have that natural gift, like her and you, like you feel like, even if it's singing in church, you feel like you got to express that, like there's a saying, don't die with your music still in you.
Right. And you find venues to express that don't necessarily involve, you don't have to make your living at it to be a singer. And this is what I tell people who come to me. You can keep your day job as a lawyer and still find the fulfillment and joy that comes from singing, because there's a niche for everybody. You could start a band. You can go into the recording studio and write some songs and record them. You can sing at church. You can join a group. There's so many ways to use your voice once you've gotten your voice developed to the point that it's a great instrument. People will want you. So the first step is develop the instrument. The second is find your niche, right?
Is part of your course like self-study, or is it always working with you?
Well, like I say, you could either do the self-study, which is the monthly course. It's $49.95 for the subscription. And that's where you sort of do the reading on your own and you get assignments on your own and you put yourself through the exercises, which truthfully and honestly, it's really hard to do. I feel like everybody really needs a guide. And that's where the one-on-one lessons, I think, are much preferable if you can afford to do that.
Yeah, I'm always the kind of person that always goes for privates rather than groups. I like the personal attention. Well, this was a lot of fun, and it was actually really interesting. I see Rachel on. She's a True North. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you here. It just shows, like with anything else, you got to learn the fundamentals.
Yes. Yep. Learn and practice the fundamentals. So we can take a lesson and then never visit it again, or we can take a lesson and then we can just practice those fundamentals each day, and then you'll find at the end of a week you're much better and much stronger.
Yeah. At one point I studied ventriloquism, and there's a lot that goes on with the voice with that too. It's not it's not like just talking without moving your lips. I couldn't believe like the amount of things you had to learn just to be able to do the first step. And I tried to get my teacher on the show, and he was scheduled, but then he got a job in Vegas, so of course he had to cancel. But it's just amazing. People don't realize like it's not just opening your mouth and singing.
Nope.
Although some people seem to be able to do that, and sometimes they're 6 years old and on TV. But for the rest of us, we've got to learn the basics. If people want to, all the links, if people want to take a lesson or take your course, that's in the show notes. But do you have any social media if people want to follow you or get to know you a little bit better?
Definitely on YouTube under Tricia Grey, TriciaGrey, Tricia Grey on YouTube. And of course, Facebook.
Nice. And if people haven't seen your weight loss success story of having lost 70 pounds and kept it off for over 3 years, I really would encourage them, if they want some inspiration, to watch that as well.
That was a fun show.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of which, are there any foods that are better or worse for singing? I remember, because I do Audible books. Sometimes I get hired for books that aren't my own, which is like, wow, this is amazing that doctors are doing that. But I remember with the director, she always had me have an apple, and like she'd go, okay, suck on the apple, and I'm like, okay, I'll suck on the apple,
That's actually good advice. I used to do apple slices backstage as well. But what you want to definitely avoid is dairy and stuff like orange juice that might cause a little bit of phlegm. Anything that's phlegm producing, but definitely avoid the dairy for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, so maybe in your work you can get people to go vegan or go more vegan when with this information,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be a good singer, you got to give up the animals.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, I'm exhausted just from that little bit.
You did really well, though.
Well, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And who knows, maybe somebody will see this and, book with you when they realize it's not as scary as you might think. If I can do it in front of everybody, you guys can do it one-on-one if this is what you desire. And Linda Middlesworth, if you're still here, take a lesson, because you're already a great comedian. Now we got to get you singing.
You've been a great sport, AJ. Yeah. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Tricia, and congratulations on maintaining your weight loss, and I wish you every success in your business.
Thanks, AJ.
My
pleasure.
Good
to see you.
A lot of fun. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time for The Doctor Is In Q&A with Dr. Ron Weiss. Take care, everyone.